Then another day, a lady called who called herself an environmental therapist. She told her to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and become one with your room. But oh no, Camilla wished she hadn't said that, 'cause then her mouth became the bed, her nose became the dresser, and her eyes became two paintings on the wall. And then, at that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet little knock on the door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. "Excuse me," she said brightly, "but I think I can help." What do we think the old woman can do to help that everyone else hasn't tried already? She went into Camilla's room and looked around. "My goodness," she said with a shake of her head, "what have we here? It is a bad case of the stripes. One of the worst I've ever seen." She pulled a container of small greens from her bag. "Here," she said, "these might do the trick." "Are those magic beans?" asked Miss Cream. "Oh my, no," replied the kind old woman. "There's no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. I'd bet you like some, wouldn't you?" she asked Camilla. "Yuck," she said. "No one likes lima beans, especially me." "Oh dear," the old woman said sadly. "I guess I was wrong about you." She put the beans back in her bag and started toward the door. Camilla watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good, and being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she'd been going through. She finally couldn't stand it. "Wait," she cried. "The truth is, I really love lima beans." "I thought so," said the old woman. She took a handful of the beans and popped them into Camilla's mouth. "Mmm," said Camilla. Suddenly, the branches, feathers, and squiggly tails began to disappear. Then the whole room swirled around. When it stopped, there stood Camilla, and everything was back to normal. "I'm cured," she said. "Yes," said the woman. "I knew you were really in there somewhere." She patted Camilla on the head. Then she went outside and vanished into the crowd. Afterward, Camilla wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said she was weird, but she didn't care a bit. She ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never had a touch of the stripes again. The end. All right. So a few of the critical thinking strategies that I used in there was thinking independently, which is S1. And that was kind of when I asked the question on page 1 about why do you think she was worried about what other people thought? So that kind of lets them think in there, like, why would she be worried about what other people are thinking? Another one is this one here, exploring thoughts underlying feelings and feelings underlying thoughts. So in this picture, it shows a whole bunch of different faces that these kids are making. You see some of them are screaming and yelling. It looks like some of them are hollering and hooting. And this would kind of also show that the importance of the illustrations with the text, because then it also lets you know how Camilla's feeling. You kind of see that she's exasperated there. And so those would be kind of things that the students would be answering with. And when I asked them why, I would be looking for those kinds of responses. And then also I would use S19, which is generating or assessing solutions. And after all of that, and we've heard all the different types of solutions that the people were trying, and then this old lady comes in. So what do they think that the old lady can do that everyone else hasn't already tried? And then just, again, like, this book is really great for these students around this age because they're starting to wonder, why on earth do people not like them? Is there something that's wrong with them? So it would be kind of the questions and discussions that, have you ever been embarrassed? Why do you think that you would be embarrassed for that? What are some things that Camilla could have done instead of being embarrassed, she could have just accepted who she was.